Hey, this is Pastor Curry, pastor of the Zion Fair Baptist Church, Wilmington's most exciting church, the church that love ya and ain't a thing you can do about it. Today with Coffee with Curry, I'm honored and I'm privileged that I sent a call out to the City Councilwoman for the 4th District, asking her to respond to some questions that have been asked while dealing with the source. And instead of us going back and forth with letters and things of that nature, she agreed to come on the show and answer some of the tough questions that have been kind of like put out there. And all too often, we spend time hearing one version. So I thought it would be great. Let's do a Coffee with Curry where we can sit, we can talk, and we can hear the answers that we're going to deal with. And yes, we are going to deal with the budget. We're going to deal with crime. We're going to deal with water shutoffs and the CBAs and some stuff that's going on in the 4th District. So I hope you'll go tell somebody Councilwoman Harlee is on, call somebody, tell them Coffee with Curry is on, and let's get after it.
Good morning, Delaware and surrounding areas. You are now tuned in to this week's Coffee with Curry. Join us every Sunday at 11 a.m. with new guests every week. So grab your cup of coffee and join us on Coffee with Curry.
And we're back. Well, it is a joy and an honor. I asked us a lot of questions because we had a lot of stuff going on and a lot of conversations had. And I wanted to ask you some questions because you're the councilwoman who represents the district in which I try to do some work in.
Right.
But before I get started with the little questions, and I wrote them all down so that I won't forget them. But before I get started, first, how is Michelle Harlee doing?
Well, thank you for asking, Pastor. And it's always a pleasure to be here and sharing with you. So I am doing very, very well.
Okay.
Since we last talked and spoke, I retired from DuPont.
Oh, wow.
Yes, in December.
How does young people retire so early?
I
You just
know.
have a lot of money somewhere.
I know. It's about planning. How about that? It's
Okay.
about planning.
All right.
But yes, I did. And I'm still on my retirement honeymoon.
Okay.
Just still in the twilight zone. Part of it's like, I know it's real, but then part of it feels like I'm dreaming,
Okay.
To be able to do this at this time, to spend more time with my family and of course do more in the community. So I'm doing good. It's a good feeling to be able to, to work and then, enjoy the fruit of your labor.
Yeah, and you're not, sickly and things of that nature. You have done well and you're doing well. So it's glad to have you. And I'm glad that you took time to talk with me today because we've had so many comments that were made. And I want to make sure that I'm always going to the source. And since you're my representative, I want to start with you, but I'm certainly open to all city council persons who want to come and respond to some of the comments or concerns that maybe that are raised. Okay.
Yes.
But the first thing I want to do is I want to ask you, I'm well aware of the annual budget and that it's one of the priorities for city council and the mayor to make sure that the budget is in place to do what it needs to do. And for you all to vote. And we've heard that there was this, that, and the other going on. Tell us a little bit about the process and tell us a little bit about, your position in the budget.
Okay, yes. So as you said, the budget really is one of the largest fiscal pieces of legislation that city council actually votes on and we're responsible for. So if you were to look at, what are the responsibilities of a council representative, you will see voting on the budget is our number one priority. And of course, attending city council meetings as well as committee meetings, and then of course, supporting and responding to our constituents. So as it relates to the budget, every year our mayor, he works with his department heads to put in the budget what they feel as though the fiscal impact is going to be. And so when he presents his budget and while they're preparing, should I say their budget, city council, we also look at the things that we want to put in a budget. And so what I will tell you is that, last 2023-24 budget, City Council proposed a blockbuster proposal to the mayor. And when I say a blockbuster, meaning legislation that put dollars into the community for all communities, but especially the brown and black communities. So for an example, City Council, Wilmington City Council, these are the things that we negotiated, not our mayor. Number one was $2 million for neighborhood stabilization.
Okay.
Which meant that the residents in the city of Wilmington, throughout the city, would be able to get up to $10,000 of repairs done to their home for those that qualified. So it was a very transparent process. The homeowners could call 311, give their information, and we share with them the period that they could submit their name. And then when we were going to do the drawing, it's called the Home Repair Lottery Drawing. We did it December the 20th, and we're going to do another one March the 20th. So we're in the process right now of still, working through making sure that those dollars get out in the community, which will be 85 residents will be able to get their numbers selected to get up to $10,000 of home repairs done. So that's number one. Number two, we put money in the budget for first-time home buyers up to $10,000. If you are a resident in the city of Wilmington and you complete the first-time home buyers program and get a certificate, you are qualified to receive up to $10,000 for first-time home buyers assistance.
Now, is that for low income or is that for any person?
So that is for any person.
Okay.
That is for any person, the first-time home buyers assistance.
Okay.
We also established legislation for water bill utility assistance, and this is going to be year over year.
Okay.
This is the first time that has ever happened in the city of Wilmington, because we understand that there were individuals, residents that utilized that service the year before with the ARPA funds that we had. We received, every municipality received ARPA funds, post-pandemic. And so we learned that there were a number of residents that needed that assistance. So we decided that we will put money in the budget every year for water bill utility assistance for those that qualify.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, government is not a for-profit business.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we always want to help those that need help the most. Then we also put $250,000 in the budget for minority businesses. An extra $250 into the budget. We also had, for the first time, Black Restaurant Week during HBCU week. So we partnered with HBCU week because we knew that during that week that there will be a number of activities, people going out to restaurants and things of that nature. So City Council worked with HBCU founder to partner for Restaurant Week. And then let's see. So when I say a blockbuster proposal, that's what I'm talking about. I know, and most of us know, that the budget legislation is the largest piece of legislation that you could ever vote on. So that's the time to talk to your colleagues, talk to the administration, building those relationships like all year round, because when budget time comes, there are things that I'm going to suggest that I feel as though is needed in the budget. So when I reach out to my council colleagues, that's when it matters. Because we have to have a collective agreement on those things that are going to be put in the budget from City Council. So it's not like everything that I want or everything that each council person wants. You still negotiate on the council side, and then we negotiate together as a team and ask that it be put in the budget. And that's our yes. That's my yes. I'm going to vote for what the mayor is asking for.
Even though sometimes there may be things in the budget you may not agree with. You're saying to me today that you may vote yes because there are things that you want to do that's special to your district, things that you've asked for. It's there.
Yes.
But you didn't get. But maybe it's something that you don't like, but you're still going to say yes because you don't want to, as they used to say, throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Exactly. Because this space that I've learned is not conquer versus compromise. It's not one or the other. It's always compromise. It's always compromise, not conquer. So it's always opportunities to compromise, and you don't always get what you want. But at the end of the day, I always think about, the pros and the cons, and it's always about a compromise, especially during the budget. That's the time you get what you want for your community. And because I want to get those things that I'm listening and learning from my constituents like all year round, that's the time for me to put my ask in, to stand up, for those that I that represent.
Yeah, and as I remember one time on one of the shows we were on, or one of the source shows, there was some concern that you had said yes, but not only you, a couple other people said yes, and I was concerned. But what I didn't understand after I talked to you privately is that the yes wasn't on that one issue. Your yes was on the general budget, because there were several things in the budget, as you broke them down to me again today, and you did at that time, that you were yes to, and you were not going to just take the budget hostage because you didn't get, or something happened in the budget you didn't like.
Absolutely. And just like I just shared with you, all those items, the $2 million for neighborhood stabilization, the $300,000 for first-time home buyers, the $300 for nonprofit organizations, the communities that need our help the most, the $250,000, for the water bill utility assistance. These are all the things that we knew were going to go out to the community. So there may have been a few things in that budget that I was not maybe completely that happy with, but I always look at the pros, what was the community gaining, and the community really gained a whole lot through our yes for the budget, the 2023-2024 budget. And a lot of times the community don't hear that side. They may just hear about things going in the budget that maybe different individuals don't like. And it's true. But that's why it's so important for the community to ask questions, call that representative of that particular district, if it's the city, to find out, hey, this is what I heard. Can you talk a little more about it? That's what I really, really, desire and wish that more people in the community will call us and ask us questions about things that they hear. I did, and you did share several things with me that made me think about it differently. And as a pastor, I have to deal with budgets. I have to deal with compromise because, I'm looking at how polarized our country is right now with the Democrats, the Republicans, and how it becomes, if I can't get everything I want, I don't want nothing to happen. And we have to kind of deal with that spirit, as I call it. Because I think that's important. And sometimes we are going to have to say yes to things that we just don't want at this point. This is true.
But the larger picture is, you're talking about millions of dollars that were put in the budget to support others. And I'm giving you this opportunity because I thought it's important that I never be viewed as a person who is just seeing one-sided. I am a Democrat by registration,
right?
But a lot of my views, I am very much in the middle of the road. I believe that you cannot run a city in deficit. Because then we'll have the city of Camden, we'll have the city of Chester, we'll have many other things. So I'm all right with sometimes making some hard decisions, but there's also the cry that the rich is getting all the play. But in this case, I really wanted to know how and what did the residents of Wilmington get out of the budget? And I think you have answered that question for me today. I have another question while we still got a couple minutes in this segment. How does the city council and the mayor or the administration communicate about priorities of Wilmington from both perspectives? How does that happen?
Oh, that's a good question. So we have routine meetings. So yes, we have routine meetings, and the way that works.
You say we have,
meaning the mayor. Along with city council. So typically...
so y'all meet. I'm sorry to keep cutting you off because
these are good questions.
That is not the understanding that I have. I thought this is one of the questions I was going to get you on. So you're saying that there is a time of coming together with the mayor of the city and city council. Now, is it only for certain city council members or is it in general?
No, it's for all city council members. So the way that works is that we usually do six and six. It's broken up because of FOIA, right? All of us can be together. So it's broken up. So each council member receives a call from our staff to say, we're going to be doing the update meetings between council members and the mayor. When are you available? So it's every council person that desires to be on the call, that desires to be on a call. So if you decide you don't want to, talk or hear what he has to say, you don't have to. So it's by choice. And so typically it's about 3 or 4 other people that are other members, council members that is, that are on the call. It's usually the mayor, his chief of staff, and maybe a couple other individuals that report up to him. And we talk about, he will share, any hot topics or things that are coming up that he feels as though council members should know about. And then there are things that we bring up, to him that we want to know about. So for me, a lot of times I want to know, like, hey, what's happening in the 4th District that I don't know about? Right. Do we have new businesses coming into the city? Who's buying certain property on this block and that block? Mm-hmm. So yes, to answer that question, we do meet with the mayor.
Oh, that's interesting.
And it's on a regular basis.
And I have to stay there for a second because I was under the impression, even up until that was my hook to say to you, why won't the mayor meet with the city council? Why won't city council meet with the mayor? But you're saying to me that this is going on for those who desire to meet with the mayor.
Yes. Yes, that desire to meet with the mayor. And so that's usually like a routine meeting that we have together. Mm-hmm. Now, there are times different council members may need to reach out to a particular department head, for a specific reason. So everything is not covered, and we call them the update meetings with the mayor. So every single thing is not covered, but like high level topics, major concerns. Mm-hmm. We don't get too deep in the weeds at that time, as it relates to specific districts, just at a high level. Okay. At a high level.
So you would not agree with the theory then that there's no communication between administration and city council. You don't agree with that, is what you're saying?
I don't agree with that.
Because there is, you're saying.
There is communication. Okay. First of all, on a routine basis with the mayor and his chief of staff and maybe one or two other persons that report up to him along with council members. There is also communication with individual council members with the administration as well. I mean, for example, I reach out to them all the time. Mm-hmm. I get the answers that I need. Mm-hmm. So each council member may have a different experience, but I have no problems getting information. As a matter of fact, I had to get some information before I came on the show to make sure that what I knew to be the truth last year and the year before was still, valid as it related to these water bill shutoffs between.
We don't talk about that.
Okay, yes. So wait. Oh, okay. So
that's one of the hot topics today.
Okay.
So you really prepared for our conversation
yes,
today.
Yes.
We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we're going to come back. And when we come back, we're going to talk about crime. And we're going to talk a little bit about, what's going on with the crime as it relates to a very specific question, as well as the water bill shut off, the commercial versus the regular people here in the city of Wilmington. We'll be right back.
At 8 a.m. every Sunday for our worship services. Join us at 9 a.m. on YouTube and Facebook Live by typing Zion Fair Baptist Church. We are Wilmington's most exciting church.
And we're back. Great first segment. I really had some specific pointed questions I wanted to ask Councilwoman Harlee because I've been hearing things. And it is important, those of us who consider ourselves leaders in the community, that we get more than one reference to everything that is said to us. And I'm not saying that who's right, who's wrong, but I think it's important if I'm going to be a good person who's bringing Coffee with Curry to you every week, I need to bring the perspective of both sides at this point. So the next question I really wanted to ask you, and you kind of like was getting ready, well, before we talked about the water shutoff, I want to talk about how does city council members work with the community in the area of crime?
Okay, so as it relates to crime, I will tell you a couple years ago, I personally organized a town hall meeting that was called Public Safety Town Hall. We put flyers out throughout the entire city. Even though I represent the 4th District, I know that crime is across the city. It's not just in one district. So we had it at 8th and Walnut, since that's sort of like, the east side is where we were having more crime within the 4th District. I decided to host that town hall meeting there. I invited the mayor, the chief of police, our attorney general, our county executive, community leaders, and more importantly, we had 200 plus members from the community throughout the city.
Oh, wow.
And so the purpose of that meeting was to ask the community, what did they think? Okay, this was about getting their opinion, getting their voice at the table for us to talk about how can we work together. Yes, we know that the elected officials have a part, our law enforcers have a part. I feel as though churches have a part, teachers have a part, and most importantly, the community, they play a part too in terms of, how can we come together and address crime? So we allowed them to come to share, what they thought, we could do. So we took all of that information that the community shared with us. And as time went on, we got reports from WPD, and it showed that the majority of the shootings were taking place with residents between the ages of 13 to like 24 to 25, right? Most of the shootings that were taking place within the last 4 or 5 years. So City Council, we identified another city that was having some of the same issues that we were having. We contracted them. They came from New Jersey. They came to Wilmington. All the city council members, we worked with them around a youth intervention and prevention. Prevention and intervention. Okay. So what this particular consultant and his organization, they shared their model with us in terms of their wins and their successes. So they came down and we worked with them. We identified some youth organizations for them to go out and do an assessment to see which ones were really making an impact to be able to work in this space to help with prevention and intervention. So we put aside about $6 million, and most of that was dollars from ARPA funds, okay? And so we actually implemented a program that's called Community Public Safety Initiative that is happening right now.
Public safety? Okay.
Community Public Safety Initiative. Okay. Dr. Deborah Mason, we vetted a director for the program, and we
Okay. Because the reason why I said that because I thought that wasn't happening. So it is happening.
Yes. We have 3 organizations that actually work in the community. 2023, they held 2 meetings every month. One of the meetings was at the Community Education Building on 12th and French, where any and everybody from the community could come and talk about public safety, the crime, what they felt we could do more of to make a difference. We had WPD there. We had stakeholders there. This was every month in the year of 2023, 12th and French, and also at the Hope Commission over on Vanderbilt Avenue. And the reason why these 2 communities were identified is because when we looked at the data, that's where most of the crime was taking place. So twice a month, all of 2023, they were meeting. Now I went to a couple of the meetings, and they're really moving the needle as it relates to helping those in the community to mitigate. We have a hub on the east side now where the community can come in, they can take showers, they can get food, anything that they need. It's not like no stipulations. It's just whatever you need, you can come into the hub. As a part of this initiative, is just to try to mitigate some of the issues, the hunger, the clothing, like the things that would just cause young people to decide to go shoplift or want to commit crimes.
Now, where's the hub at?
It's on, I think it's 912 Pine Street.
Oh, okay, wow. So people can go in, take a shower, they can get something to eat. I didn't know anything about that as well.
Yes, City Council. We were the ones to go to the mayor to say this is a program that we would like to initiate.
Is it going on now?
It's going on right now.
Okay.
Yes,
right.
Yes, it's going on now. And as a matter of fact, I spoke with Dr. Mason and one of her coordinators last week to find out, how it's going and, what we need to do to continue to keep that program, existing.
Wow.
So that's what City Council has done as it relates to crime. We got the data, we got the community's voice, and we took action. So when people ask, what is City Council? And I said, we're doing a lot.
Yeah. I think sometimes people make it look like there's an inactivity because certain things are not done. Now we do know that the crime is a growing thing with all inner cities at this point.
Yes.
But I guess one of the things I want to make sure that our viewers understand: do you have a way of communicating with the chief of police?
Oh, yes. Chief Campos is very relatable. That is one of the reasons why he was selected or appointed, rather, by the mayor because of the feedback, not only from the mayor's perspective, but this time I really do believe that the mayor got it right. I'm not saying that he didn't get it right with Chief Tracy, but I can definitely say, Chief Campos, he's homegrown. He's from Wilmington, grew up in Wilmington, went to Wilmington Public Schools. Everyone knows him, very relatable, and really understands the community. So, of course, him being in that position, he has definitely made a pretty, in my opinion, impact, just reorganizing the Wilmington Police Department in a way where you see more officers on the street. You see more cars in different communities. So yes, we do have a channel that we can communicate directly, with the chief. And he's very relatable and he responds immediately.
Yeah, the few interactions I had to have with him, I do agree with you that he is very much there.
Yes.
And very much tried to support to the best of his ability. I don't want to put you on the spot for this question, but when you come back, because I'm really going to have to ask you to come back another time, because I really appreciate the updates as I'm looking at it. This show is becoming that. I thought I was going to hook you a couple of times, but so far I've not been able to do a successful job at that. But one of the things I do want to make sure that we look at is that the level of transparency when there is a shooting, a murder, is something that is really critical, we believe, in the community, because how do I know what areas to visit, go in, where is all the crime happening? And it seems like it's being hidden. And I think that's a cry.
They have reports that they actually submit reports to City Council.
What do you mean?
On a regular basis in terms of the crime, robberies, shootings, as it relates to public safety. So that's something that has been going on, for a while as it relates to data in terms of crime. So data in terms of crime is a report that is given to us on a routine basis. I don't know if it's monthly or quarterly, but I know that we do receive it. And anytime we reach out to, David Karras, who is like the spokesperson, for WPD, he responds. As a matter of fact, he used to work for City Council, so there's already a relationship there. And we haven't had any problems getting data as it relates to crime. Now, as it relates to transparency with officers, are you talking about with information or with officers?
I think I'm more concerned about when a shooting happens on Market Street, the community is aware of it. And I think that's now I hear you, even though you did give me an update, because you said that the City Council, they do receive a report quarterly or monthly, whichever the time is, which they should probably be filtering that down to their city, their what you call the people, civic associations.
Yes.
To make sure that the community get that information.
Yes.
But if something happens where a person is shot, I think it's important that the community is aware, and I don't think that they do a very good job at bringing the community aware.
So council members, if there's a shooting, we get a text right away. So let me be clear on that. So they don't wait until that report comes out to let us know. So on my phone, if there is a shooting that takes place, I get a text.
Do you have a city council phone and a personal phone, or do you have a personal phone?
Yes. We have a city council phone and a personal phone.
Oh, so you're saying on that phone, there's a text that go out?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes. There's
I know there's going to be a whole lot of refuting you, unless somebody's been lying to me, because this sounds like this is information that I have received.
Oh yeah. We get a text. We get a text that comes out when there's a shooting. That's number one, and that's why. Well, myself, I work with my civic association leaders to encourage them to always have a WPD officer to come to the monthly meetings so they can give updates. Okay. So that's how that works, because of course, WPD, how to get all that information out to everybody. That's why we have to work together. So we get the information and have the officer to come to the monthly civic meetings, then they can give the updates and the community can ask the officer any questions that they want to ask.
Yeah, and I've been in many of the meetings here in Southbridge, and the officer was there to answer whatever they concern. It isn't always about shootings.
Right.
Sometimes it could be because of a nuisance or things of that nature. So I do pay attention to that. Because time is just flying today. I want to ask another question that I consider to be controversial, and that is, I understand the difference between commercial and private properties. But there seems to be a growing concern with, I'm not going to say the people, I'm just going to say I've heard several things, that the city will not turn off commercial, but they will only turn off water for our personal properties.
That's not true. That is not true. So first of all, city council members, we get a list. It's called the 96-hour list of shutoffs. So we get a list, Excel spreadsheet, all city council members, and there are residential and commercial constituents on that list. Okay, so within, basically the ideal is to let these individuals know, well, they're letting us know that these entities and residents or have been notified that in 96 hours, if they don't do something, that their water will be shut off. So that process applies to commercial business owners as well as residents. So that just means that, okay, you either come and pay it, or you come in and put together a plan. So of course, if you have a business, your church, if your church ended up on it, you want to go the next day, okay, and pay it. Or that day, right? I'm just using that as an example.
Absolutely.
More than likely, you cannot afford to say, hey, whatever. But you have the option to put a plan in place if need be, okay? But even your business or your church, you don't have to pay it up front if you don't have it. You have the option to put a plan in place just like a resident. That is the process for commercial as well as residential. And I'll go as far as to say, one, I called to make sure that was still the process, because ever since I've been on council, both commercial and residential had the same process, meaning that they could put a plan in place to avoid a shutoff, both residential and commercial. But last night, there was a finance meeting, and the director of finance was in that meeting, and that question was asked on the floor publicly. And he answered that question, and he made it clear it is not a separate process. It's the same process for business as well as residential. So that's what I've always known it to be. But I called the mayor's office this week to make sure, did something change? Because I have been hearing that from in the community.
And my show. I don't mind you telling me.
Yeah.
Tell us that source.
And the person that actually put that narrative out, her and I was talking, and she owned it, because it came up in our conversation, because she was calling me about, legislation dealing with the water bill and things of that nature. And I had shared with her, this rumor I heard, and she owned it. She says, well, I'm the one that put that out there. And I said, well, that's not true. And she went back to 20 or 21 or something like that. I said, well, I don't know about 20 or 21, but as of today, right now, I know that process that's not true. And so I shared that with her and she appreciated it. So it's the same process for commercial as it is for residential and vice versa.
Yeah, well, are you against, let's say I'm poor. I can't afford to pay my water bill. Tell me, what do you think the problem with having a standard for those who, quote unquote, because we don't know what the criteria would be to say what you can't do. Because I see some people who are claiming to be poor, but their children are wearing $500 sneaks.
Exactly.
But I'm not being disrespectful to the poor, because everybody know I am very much supportive of those who are in need. But tell me your position on why it's important that we have a equitable water bill system, as opposed to saying, you know what, if you're under a certain amount of money, you shouldn't have to pay it all. Okay,
so I think you're talking about water bill affordability.
Okay.
I think that is the term that is used. So one, I believe in letting the data prove what we're trying to do. A great ideal that works in other bigger cities, as you know, thank you, for having Mayor Sherelle Parker here a couple weeks ago. And she was talking about her budget. And the city of Philadelphia, I believe they have 1,486,000 people in the city of Philadelphia, right?
The state of Delaware, yeah.
Well, we have 70,000.
Right.
Okay, I mean, like 70,000 versus 1,486,000. Of course, there's going to be more funds, revenue going in their coffers for whatever they want to do, versus when you look at 70,000 people in the city. So you always have to look at the full picture. We have salaries to pay. We have benefits to pay. We got pensioners, that are looking for increases. So I'm on the finance committee. I understand economics, and I understand how you have to have a balance. Okay, when it comes to, when you take money from one bucket, okay, where are you going to make up the deficit? But to answer your question, I believe that we need to help those that need the help the most. So we need to identify that demographic, and how we are going to get there, we have to figure that out. Do I support that concept? Yes, I do. And I'll give you an example. You have Miss Lula May. She's on a fixed income. She makes X amount of dollars a month. And when we have a water bill that's constantly going up due to supply chain issues, see, that's real, okay, in terms of why our water bills are going up a little, because there are factors that are outside of the city of Wilmington's control in terms of keeping the water clean, in terms of the supply chain issues. There are a number of factors as to why the water bills are going up. But Miss Lula May, her pension is not going up. I mean, her fixed income, is not going up. So there are residents that are in that category, but we need to find out who they are. Because if you just use the seniors, come on, senior nowadays is 62, 65. I mean, hey, a lot of my friends, okay, they're in that category. They don't have no problem, trust and believe, paying the water bill, okay? So we can't just have some of these general labels, seniors. Okay, we need to find those particular seniors that have a certain income, and those are the ones that I feel as though we should help. So that's my perspective.
Gotcha.
That's my perspective.
Yeah, we're going to take a quick commercial break, but one of the things I want to talk about when we come back is the 4th District. One of the most diverse districts in the city, several communities, and people want to know why does Michelle Harlee vote the way she does. Representing a plethora of people causes sometimes you have to make sure you make some decisions where everybody's affected. But there's 2 major areas I really want to touch on, and a lot of it has to do with this little area called South Bridge, but I'm not going to put you on the spot because that's not who I am. But the what is that called? CBA?
Yes, Community Benefits Agreement.
I'm looking forward to having a conversation with that. And I also want to talk about some of the hot stuff that's going on in the city.
Okay.
We'll be right back.
News all across the nation. Wilmington's latest headlines. Advocating for change in the community. With Dr. C.T. Curry. Kobe Owens and Shanae Darby. Tune in to The Source every Sunday at 5 p.m.
And we're back. Well, I have to admit, this has been a very good conversation. And before I ask my next question, I hope that you can commit to coming back quarterly or enough so that I can ask the questions that I'm hearing. And maybe you can even come and just do some updates of what's going on with the city council. And you can tell your colleagues, if any of them want to come on the Coffee with Curry show, I would love to have them, because what I never want to do is be accused of being one track. I believe as a scholar, I should be open to hear, even if I disagree.
Yes.
I should be able to hear the perspective of others.
I agree.
So you are the city council representative for the 4th District.
Yes.
In my opinion, it's one of the most diverse districts.
It is.
People think 4th District is just one community, which is Southbridge, but it is not.
No.
How many communities do you have in the 4th District?
Yeah, so the 4th District, as you said, you're absolutely right. It is the most diverse district in the city of Wilmington. So there are 6 communities, starting with Southbridge and moving over to the riverfront, both sides, Justin and Christina Landon. Christina Landon is the side near ShopRite, closer to Southbridge. And then across the water over by the movie theater is Justice and Landon. And then all of downtown, and then a portion of the east side south of 9th Street. That's all in the 4th District. And then it moves down to Midtown Brandywine, which is behind Mickey Moto's, over by the Wilmington Hospital. It's a community behind that area. And then it swings over to Trinity Vicinity, which is off of I-95 and Adams Street, Trinity Vicinity. So it's 6 distinct communities, but working and serving in this capacity, I have learned the landscape of all of them, and the way that I've come to understand these communities. Southbridge and the East Side have a lot of similarities around issues, interests, and concerns. Southbridge and East Side, Midtown, Brandywine, and Trinity Vicinity, they have the similar concerns, and then downtown and the riverfront. So I'm always trying to listen and learn to understand, what are their interests, issues, and concerns. And I've learned that those communities, that's how I have paired them up. So it's 6 communities in the 4th District, and everybody's interests and issues and concerns are sometimes it's like north and south, east and west.
We're glad you're retired so you can just deal with all of this. Real quick, CBA.
Yes.
I'm gonna let you explain to me. I'm gonna be your student. What is a CBA? And I guess some of the benefits of it. I'll just do that first.
Okay, so I will tell you that before I got elected, I was involved with the Community Benefits Agreement. I was on the Community Benefits Agreement Committee on the East Side. Okay, so a Community Benefits Agreement is an agreement between the community and an entity to talk about benefits for the community, for their support if an entity needs their support as it relates to typically 99.9% of the time if they have to go before a zoning board to get approval for something. A business will not just go to a community and talk about community benefits agreement. And normally a business is not the one that talks it or brings up community benefits agreement. Community benefits agreements is kind of new to this area. And like I said, before I got elected, I was a part of a committee on the East Side. So it's a agreement between the community and the entity. In this case, when the Pearl Center on 8th and Walnut was getting built, the community, working with Reverend Killing, over on the East Side, we got together and put together a committee, and we went to the entity that needed a variance to do the work on 8th and Pine, which is the Pearl Center. It used to be the Layton home. They needed a variance. So we came up with the idea of the Community Benefits Agreement for our support on the East Side, because the company that was the Veterans Administration working with a general contractor. So between the two of them, we said, hey, for our support, for you to get the variance that you need, these are the things that we would like to see you give back to the community. So in this case, and it all depends on the entity that needs the variance. Sometimes like it was the Veterans Administration in that case. Sometimes it could just be a homeowner. It can range from like your Sorello Brothers, which is a business that have profits of millions of dollars, to a person that doesn't even have a business. So variances, they come in all sizes and shapes. So it's not a one size fit all when you're talking about a community benefits agreement. You always look at the entity that needs the variance and what can they give to the community? What do they have to give to the community? And how can that be a win-win for them and a win-win for the community? So that's what a community benefits agreement is all about. But again, the entity never comes to the community and says, hey, let's put together a community benefits agreement.
Right.
99.9% of the time, someone in the community, when they learn that that entity has to go before the zoning board to get approval, we know that one of the questions they're going to ask on the zoning board is, did you go to the community? We know that those that are going to initiate the community benefits agreements conversation, we know that. So for our support, we get them. Normally, you have that entity to come before the civic association in that community, talk about what it is that they trying to do, number one, and then the community can talk about, okay, so for our support, this is what we would like, and it has to be legally put together by an attorney, okay? But it's between the entity and the community. It has nothing to do with the zoning board. Like, they don't have to acknowledge a community benefits agreement or anything like that. So it depends. So the Pearl Center, I was involved. I was on the committee, and we had to really, it took a long time to get what we wanted. And so what we had asked for in that situation was that the general contractor hire qualified individuals, contractors from the East Side. That was one of them, that comes to mind, right? So that was something they could do, right?
So what about cash? I mean, because we ain't have a lot of time. What if I'm a millionaire and I want to build some houses in the East Side, and I say to this group, if I get your support, I'm gonna give you some cash. Is that something CBAs deal with? So
I will tell you, unless it's something that the community asks for. So let's say, to answer your question off the top of my head, this is the first thing that comes to my mind. If there was an organization, let's say that I know that a lot of families come there for electric bill assistance, for, water bill assistance and food and things of that nature. In a case like that, I would think so
they would have a established program.
Structured program where we know those funds are going there, they're going to be accountable for, and that we know that we can, account for.
You're using very good comments, because what I'm learning, I've heard of community benefit agreements, and matter of fact, I participated in them.
Okay.
I act like I don't know things on purpose.
Okay.
And when I wanted to know, when we dealing, because a lot of people are talking about these CBAs. Now everybody want to get one, because it seems like it's a good way to get certain people money, as opposed to benefiting the community as it's designed to do. Now, I'm not going to be specific. I'm just being in general.
Okay.
If the CBA organization has established several things like health, assistance, this, that, and the other, and they say, okay, in order for you to get our support, we need $1 million.
Yes.
I'm with it.
Yes.
Because we have this, we can verify it. It's not going to a person's pocket, and we won't have to worry about it. But the way I'm seeing some of these CBAs being brought up, it's to fund people's retirement.
Wow.
And I'm watching it.
Well, that's not the way a community benefits agreement should work. And it should always be transparent, and it should be driven by the community. And I mean, that term to me is being thrown around, in ways where I don't think it's always the community. I mean, like really present it in front of a percentage of the community. And I think community benefits, you should talk about them, you should present them, in a transparent way and in a way where you have enough time to allow enough people to hear about it, learn about it, and say, hey, well, at least I heard about it and could agree with it. So, but that's the gist of a community benefits agreement.
One of the things I hope you've heard about it at least, but that happened even over here in Southbridge, where at one point there was petitions out saying we don't like the way the money is going to go with this.
Right.
Therefore, it's one thing if you agree in the item that's going to come into the community.
Right.
If you agree, fine, but you can't agree to even the item coming into the community if the agreement on the funds and the resources that will be coming with it is really directed to one or two individuals. And that's what I think the Southbridge community had gotten upset about. I know as a representative here, I don't want to put you on the spot because all the questions I want to put you on the spot, you were able to answer them. So I don't want to start doing it now because I don't want you to commit to anything. But I just hope when you have a conversation with many members of even the Southbridge community, and we need to see, in order for that to be effective, because I think there are needs here in this community.
Correct.
The neighborhood house has been around for 100 plus years. We need to get things done for the neighborhood house. Henrietta has been around for many years.
Yes.
To have a community benefits agreement without them getting the funds.
Yes.
Because that's the established organizations.
Yes.
Not Zion Fair, although we're 104 years old and we started here in Southbridge. Not Zion Fair, not the churches and the little organizations, but the institutions that have been helping.
Yes, serving families.
Should be getting the funds.
Yes.
I remember when you were, I don't know if you probably were a city council person at the time, but I remember when we was trying to build a homeless center. And then all of a sudden they said, well, what are we going to do with this senior housing? You got to talk to the CBA people. I'm not talking to them because I know it wasn't, if the neighborhood house, and right now, the neighborhood house use our gym.
Okay.
And the community use our gym.
Great.
And people are saying they don't do anything for the community. But I'm saying to you as our council person, ask them to come over and see how many of the community use this gym.
Okay.
Ask them how much food we give away monthly from just this campus. We do a whole lot, but we don't ask the community to give us anything. We have not charged the community for anything.
Okay.
So when you hear of a community benefits agreement, I would think it would be an organization that has already established things and needs some assistance. So you know what? You know how you can get our support is that our people are taken care of.
Yes.
Jobs. Finances
That's
too.
right. Yeah.
Sometimes we do need some help with the gas, the water, the whatever else. But I just really, when I hear this, and I wanted to ask you, please be mindful that when you letting all the people who come and asking you questions and things of that nature, that they understand your understanding of a CBA.
Okay, I will do that. And I will say, as it relates to the one CBA that was established recently within the last couple of years, I didn't know about the CBA until it was already put together.
How did you not know about it? And you are the city council person for this district.
So in theory, your elected officials shouldn't be involved in it, but they should know about it. So meaning that, yes, even though I don't have to be at the table when it's discussed or, whatever's decided, but there is an opportunity for me to be in the room when the community is talking about it. So I do think that when that opportunity presents itself, it could be done publicly, present ideals presented in a way publicly that I don't have to have any input at all because, don't want to have a conflict of interest. That's why your elected officials are not involved in it. So I'm okay with that part, not, letting it be totally 100% community driven. But I do think it's not a bad idea to have the elected official involved, because guess what? There's opportunities for me to help support it. And more than likely they're going to want the elected officials to support it. So I would like to know what's going on from the beginning, the middle, and the end. And so I can lend my support, so I can lend it from a perspective of knowing and knowledge, not just somebody telling me from their perspective. I was listening. I was in the room. I heard about it. I didn't have any input, but I was there. So I think that there's opportunities where the elected official could be in the room if they choose to be, but let us know about it, even though we don't participate in the process.
Absolutely. And we're out of time. I wish I could do another show, but we are going to schedule something for you to come back. But I want to take this opportunity to thank you, one, because you and I have disagreed on items. And what I love about your spirit, if I can use that language as a well, you are a part of the ecclesiastical yogage as well.
Yes.
But what I love is that even though we have disagreed, you have never held it against me. And I appreciate that. And likewise, I have not held it against you. When I called and I wanted to know some questions, some things that were brought to my attention, you gave your side, and whether I accepted it or not, that wasn't your concern. Your concern was to make sure that I heard your side of what the situation was.
Yes.
So on behalf of the constituents here on the 4th District, I want to say thank you. I watch you in those meetings. You don't have your bullhorn trying to tear anybody down. You try to be the neutral voice, and we appreciate that. Even in the struggles I've had over here with not the Southbridge residents, but with a few people, you've been neutral. You have not get into the fight saying, Curry, you're right, Curry, you're wrong. You just simply said, this is what you need to do. And I thank you so very much for all of your help, all your support. And I hope you will tell your council people they may need to come and have a little conversation with me as well, so we can get the real positive word out and do the things we have to do. Before we let you go today, I also want to say that for those of you who have not heard, one of our giants, Herman Holloway was one of the giants in this community in Southbridge. And we are grateful to God that he served so powerfully. His father led the way, but he served so powerfully even as a representative. So I want to say to the Holloway family, know that the East Zion Fair Church family, as well as those who watch this telecast, that we are certainly praying for you, and we're going to pray God give you strength as you go through these days now and preparing and planning for the homegoing celebration of Herman Holloway. We thank you, and we'll be right back.
Hello, I'm Marcus Henry, and I'm running for Newcastle County Executive. I spent over 20 years working in state and local government, trying to bring the good programs and services you deserve here in Newcastle County. Please support my campaign. Please look us up at marcushenryde.com for further information. I look forward to meeting you all over the next year, and I look forward to your support. Thank you.
And we're back. I hope you enjoyed the show today. And I really want to take this opportunity to say thanks to our council lady, Michelle Harlee. She didn't have to come today. She came because I asked her and she was not afraid. Sometimes we have to speak truth, even to power. Dr. King once said, the only thing for evil to continue is for good people to say nothing. I am grateful to hear some of the updates, because some of the updates gave me a different perspective and also helped me to clarify some of the things that I was struggling with. And even though I've called her several times struggling and asking her, why would you vote? Why would you do this? Her answers have never been disrespectful. She just give me the facts and let them lay where they are. She does serve a plethora of personalities, as I shared with you earlier in the show. We have to support people who want to do what is right. I ask, before you run on information, let's get the facts. Let's make sure we're hearing all sides to the story so that we can then come up with an informed decision or informed reaction. Again, on behalf of the East Zion family, church family, I want to say to the Holloway family, we love you, we're supporting you, we're holding you up during this time of bereavement. And until the next time we get together, may the Lord God bless you real good.
Thank you for watching this episode of Coffee with Curry. Tune in next week, Sunday at 11 a.m.